Hello, Mike. Today we're going to talk about overthinking, right? Which kind of like comes from last week's topic, which was anxiety. So last week we spoke about anxiety and we spoke about a bunch of amazing techniques that I have used and that I learned to recommend to you guys in order to help us with anxiety. And one of the main reasons why people are anxious is because they overthink, right? We overthink everything. We put ourselves in a space of like negativity because we always tend to think of all of the things that could potentially happen. So that is called overthinking. And today we're going to be talking exactly about that. Overthinking and the 3 ways that we can calm an overthinking mind, right? And this happens a lot. This happens to all of us. It's extremely normal. So the beautiful thing about it is that we've all experienced it. Some of us a little bit more than others. So because this is a common trend, there's a lot of really easy ways for you to implement taking care of it and making sure that that overthinking mind doesn't take you away from possible opportunities. Hello, Talia. We're talking about overthinking today. Potential opportunities. Maybe you always end up overthinking yourself into a negative space and creating situations that are not even there. And most importantly, if this then leads you to having that anxiety and becoming that anxious mind all the time, then we want to address it. So let's get started. From last week, I know that a lot of you guys watched this later. Hello, New York Realtor. We're talking about anxiety today. We're talking about overthinking, which came from our talk about anxiety last week. Hola, Susana. So I don't know how many of you guys were here last week. I already see 2 people that were. But essentially, I want to know how many or if any of the things that I recommended last week stuck with you, right? And if so, what were they? And the reason why I want to know this right off the bat is I'm starting to create my lives. Hola, Johan. I'm starting to create my lives, and I want us to have like monthly topics, right? So if you're usually here with me on Fridays and you join me on this date, I want you to think of what topic overall would help you so that I can then map it out and maybe even give you guys a little bit of like homework or things to journal, think about before we hop in here to share experiences, right? Because this is all there is. I am not a professional in this. I'm just sharing everything that I've lived. If you're new here, my name is Karina. I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a business owner, I'm a competitor, I'm a mom of 3, and I run a woman exclusive gym, which is where I am right now, in which we train newbies, women from all walks of lives and fitness levels. And I also co-own a remote coaching organization called Unity Fitness Academy, right? My fully remote training space also offers nutrition coaching, and in the realm of these 2 businesses, I have a space for Women Who Roar. Women Who Roar is a movement of women who have come together to grow, to reflect, and to evolve. And that's where Pain to Power was born, right? Today's topic is actually a continuation of last week, like I told you what, guys, because last week was all about anxiety, right? And how to lead yourself through anxiety instead of letting it control your life and just labeling yourself as an anxious person. And that conversation resonated with a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys asked me for the PDF on techniques to help with anxiety afterwards. And I was really touched with the DMs that I was receiving, the comments that you guys left me. So I wanted to talk about anxiety's cousin today, which is overthinking, right? Anxiety activates your nervous system. So like we spoke last week, it keeps you in that high state of like being hyper vigilant, right? Overthinking activates the mind. So just like anxiety activates your nervous system, overthinking activates your mind. So today's conversation is going to be all about ways to calm an overthinking mind, right? There were grounding techniques that we shared last week in that PDF to regulate your anxiety. If you weren't here, don't worry, you can still ask me for them. I happily share them with you. And I want to ask you something honestly, right? Did you actually try out any of those techniques that we spoke about? Like the breathing exercises, going out for a walk when you find yourself in a space of, oh my God, everything is getting put together and I'm gonna explode. Did you pause and regulate your nervous system, right? We spoke about that. Bottle of soda that keeps getting shaken, 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 and how it's going to explode at some point. And I'm bringing this up because I'm going to start giving you guys a little bit of homework, keeping you guys accountable. Not because you need more tasks in your life, but because growth comes from accountability, right? Not just listening, but actually implementing the things that we talk about. It comes from practice. So every week we're going to talk about something here, and then I'll invite you to practice something during the week and come back and tell me how it went, right? So let's dive into today's topic. When your mind starts overthinking, it starts creating loops, right? You replay conversations, you imagine scenarios. En español decimos te peliculaste, right? You create these movies and you start analyzing things that may not even happen, right? And then the more you think, the louder your mind gets, the more scenarios that get implicated. So today I want to share 3 ways to calm that overthinking mind, right? These are the 3 pillars that I always leave you guys with, and we're going to come back to them during the live multiple times. Number 1, interrupt the thought loop. That loop that I just told you guys about, you got to break it, you got to interrupt it. Number 2, move the thought from your head to paper. We briefly spoke about this last week. And number 3, anchor yourself in the present moment. But we're also going to talk about something very important. Overthinking isn't always the enemy. So if you're an overthinking person and you learn to use that to your benefit, if you learn to channel it, it can become one of your greatest strengths. So stay with me because I'm going to share more about that. But let's start with pillar number 1. Pillar number 1, interrupt the thought loop, right? Overthinking usually begins because the brain believes something needs to be resolved, right? The brain scans and analyzes, it thinks there is a problem and it tries to protect you or fix the problem by predicting outcomes or solutions, right? But sometimes the thinking becomes excessive, right? You're literally just focusing on that one thing. Hello, Coach Marcy. So instead of solving the problem, it creates more confusion, right? If you're here with me on TikTok, if you're here with me on Instagram, let me know how many times a day do you catch yourself overthinking a scenario, right? Have you ever replayed a conversation in your mind multiple times, right? Does that ever happen to you? Or have you imagined 10 different outcomes, solutions to something that hasn't even happened yet, right? That is the thought loop, right? And the first way to calm it is to identify it and simply interrupt it. You break the loop by changing your state. Talia said too many times, hello, Coach Marcy. So in order to break this loop of thoughts, you have to change your state, right? How do we change your state? Movement. Movement is going to be very powerful for this. So go for a walk, do a workout, clean your space, start a task. Distract yourself with something that includes moving your body. Action interrupts you sitting there and fixating on this, right? Ruminating on this. It's something that I see constantly inside of my discovery call, my connection calls, right? My Bloom girls, for example, this board that you guys see behind me, they're about 2 weeks in and they're already seeing beautiful progress, right? And I'm not just talking about physical program, but what excites me even more is their mental progress, right? How many times they're showing up for themselves, how many times they started negotiating themselves out of a workout, but they came in. They're becoming consistent. They're proving, they're living proof that taking action is going to cure all of the overthinking patterns that they set. Consistency reduces overthinking, right? Reduces overthinking. So when you start taking action regularly, the mind has less time to spiral, to ruminate, to sit on those movies, right? Action creates clarity, and clarity quiets the mind. Either because you're busy doing what you got to do, or because you've proven to your mind that, you know what, you didn't have to think about the worst thing that could happen because we're already taking care of the best case scenario, right? Now, let me ask you guys something. Have you ever overthought something so much that you ended up feeling more confused than when you started? more aggravated, more worried, more in a bad mood, right? If that sounds familiar, drop at me in the comments. Either one of my TikTok or Instagram chat works. I know my YouTube is getting recorded, so I'll take the comments after when you guys watch it. But I want you to know that your mind is just trying to solve a problem with more thinking, right? It is your job to interrupt that loop, to cut it off, and instead of trying to find more solutions to a potential problem, the solution is going to be for you to move and stop analyzing. Moving to something else, moving to walking up and down the stairs a few times, moving to walking your dog, right? So that it's going to be pillar number one, interrupting the loop, and the loop requires for you to physically move, right? Sitting there only allows your brain to continue to move. Number two, I want you to think of turning overthinking into a strength, right? Here's something very, very important. Overthinking, for those of us that have ADHD and we're always on like think mode, can be a very positive thing, right? It can be a strength when we direct it properly, right? That same brain that analyzes problems is also deeply capable of planning things strategically, coming up with solutions for problems that other people have, being very creative, creating visions that you can then pursue, right? Many of us entrepreneurs and leaders are actually natural overthinkers. So it's not necessarily always a bad thing, right? The difference is that we learn to direct the thinking towards solutions instead of spirals of like problems, right? So instead of saying, what if everything goes wrong? We ask, what is the next step forward, right? How else can I solve this issue? If that initial, solution does not work, it becomes overthinking becomes very powerful when you move from being in a space of fear to being in a space of like solution and positivity, right? So keep that in mind. Now on to pillar number two. Pillar number two is all about moving the thoughts from your head to paper. I spoke about this briefly last week when we spoke about anxiety and one of those techniques that can help us with more anxious. And I give this to my clients as a homework all the time, especially if they tell me that they don't sleep well because they're like a hamster in a wheel when they go to bed. Get the thoughts out of your head. Your brain is not designed to store endless movies, endless thoughts all day long. When everything stays in your head, it becomes chaotic, right? It feels tense. However, when you write it down, something changes. The thought becomes visible. And once something is visible in front of you, it's manageable. So that's where journaling or brain dumping, like I teach my clients, becomes very powerful. Hola Rey, estamos hablando de overthinking y cómo arreglar o curar esa manera tan simple de volvernos locos, right? Overthinking in our head, siempre solucionando problemas, muchos de ellos que quizás ni existen. Hello, Dani Sicario, perfecto, hermoso, siempre me acompañas. Cuéntame si aplicaste alguna de las cosas que aprendimos la semana pasada. So, pillar number two to help with your overthinking mind is bring it from your mind to paper, right? Journaling, brain dumping is very powerful because you sit down and you simply write. And that action helps you really analyze yourself. What am I worried about? What decisions are in my mind? What actually needs attention today? What can I delegate, right? When the thoughts move from your head to paper, they lose intensity, they lose power over you, right? I've used this tool many, many times in my own life. Hello, Steph. Do I see you at Fitness Atlantic in a few weeks, baby? We're talking about overthinking minds and how to help yourself out of the overthinking loop. So when your mind, or when my mind feels scattered, I sit down and I write everything out. Not in order, not as a to-do list. I literally brain dump, right? And immediately I feel like my overwhelm becomes organized, right? Like I'm clearing space in my head, in my brain. After that, you can take the time to cross things out that don't need your attention, to delegate some things, to circle the things you're going to do next. There's a lot of tips that I offer my clients on what to do with this brain dumping list. But your first action is to literally grab a piece of paper when you're feeling like, I'm extremely overwhelmed, I'm overthinking about all of these things, nobody helps me, I gotta take care of all these things. Okay, so what are those things? Write them down. Write them down and clear the space in your brain. You're gonna feel so much better immediately. You don't even have to do anything with that piece of paper yet. Pillar number 3. If you want to know what to do with that paper, I will give you the opportunity to work with me later on today. Pillar number 3, anchor yourself in the present moment, right? The third way to calm down an overthinking mind is to return to the present moment. Overthinking usually lives either in the past or in the future, right? In the past, it creates regret, depression. In the future, it creates worry, anxiety, right? But the present moment is usually it's usually safer, right? And that's exactly where your mind wants to sit, right? Your mind wants to feel safe, and safety lives right here, right? Grounding techniques are going to be the ways that we bring our brain back, right? We help our friend, the brain, get back to, listen, we're here, we're safe, it's okay. I know I have 1,000 things on my plate, but going crazy about them for the rest of the day is not going to solve that issue. So let's bring ourselves back and ground ourselves. What are some of those grounding techniques? Slow breathing. We practiced this last week. Feeling your feet on the ground. This is one that I didn't mention last week and is really, really powerful. Literally go outside and walk barefoot. In the grass or not in the grass. Do it. Try it. And if you try it, let me know next week and tell me how you felt. Pay attention to your surroundings, right? Last week we spoke about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 principle. If you want to learn more about it, DM me and I will send you the PDF that we literally went through last week about all of these grounding techniques in detail, right? When we do these grounding techniques, you're telling your nervous system, hey, you're safe. And then your body relaxes and then your mind follows. You cannot take yourself out of an anxiety state by trying to calm down your mind. It does not work. First, you have to calm down your body, and then your mind is going to join it, right? Mind blown. I'm anxious. I need to get myself out of this anxiety. Like, come on, brain. Come on, inner peace. I don't have all day. It'll never happen. You have to do it physically first. You have to move first. You have to do a grounding technique, breathing, journaling, walking, a workout, whatever it is. And then you're going to find yourself in a better space, right? Something I want you to remember is that us alpha women, us strong women, us overachieving women experience anxiety and overthinking a lot, right? Leadership doesn't mean that your mind is calm and you're always sitting in the back with a cocktail. Leadership means that you have to guide yourself and that you know how to guide yourself when shit hits the fan, right? So that's why it's so important for you to be good about learning to interrupt that overthinking loop, organizing your thoughts, returning to the present moment. Us overachieving women that are leaders, that are running companies and families, we have a lot on our plate. We have a ton on our plate, right? So it's very easy for us to become super overwhelmed. And now throw in being on prep, right? My fit girlies in the room. Throw in going through perimenopause or menopause. Give me a thumbs up if you guys know what I mean in my TikTok or in my Instagram screen. It's a lot, right? So learning how to be in charge of this, learning how to identify it, and learning how to interrupt it is where we win. Otherwise, it's going to take over. And then we're going to start labeling ourselves as the overthinkers, the anxious people. No, not at all. And then we can move forward, right? Why does mentorship matter? And I'm telling you this because I belong to a therapy group. I have been working on this journey myself for about 9 months now, where I decided to put this movement together to help other women just like me with the issues that I deal with, right? And I think that this is one of the biggest reasons why women choose to work with me personally, right? When your mind is overthinking everything, it's hard to see your own blind spots, right? It's hard for you to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, it's okay, Karina. You have a lot on your plate. You actually don't need to attend to A, B, C. Take care of D right now, delegate E, right? It's hard to do that. We already have so much going on. So I want you to think of it from a third party perspective, right? Like, what if you had someone that give you structure, guidance, that listen to you when you need someone to help you simplify the noise and focus on what really matters. Inside of my coaching programs, women don't just get workouts and nutrition plans. That is Karina, 10, 8, 5, 4 years ago, right? What we bring into our programs is structure, accountability, a lot of feedback, a lot of lifestyle coaching, personal development, mentorship. That's how we get ourselves aligned with our goals. And that's how I truly help my clients. And if you're a coach in the room and you're not doing this already, you are missing out. You're missing out on results. You're missing out on bringing your clients to the next level and for them to be your walking billboards, right? This is why my Bloom girls that are in this board, this is why my Uni Fitness Academy clients, my competitors, this is why my woman at KFit start seeing changes, not just physically, but mentally, right? Because clarity replaces chaos and confidence replaces doubt. So now all of a sudden you're choosing yourself without guilt. Now all of a sudden you're following the plan, the meal plan, the workout plan, the water, the supplements, because you understand that you're creating this next level, this 2.0 for yourself, and that you have a coach keeping you accountable and reminding you and helping you to do it, right? If this conversation resonates with you guys, there are several ways that you can work with me at KFit in person, right? Or through live Zoom classes. For those of you that don't know, we train our clients live on Zoom. We also offer Fit and Heals every Saturday, where for the next 5 weeks, we're gonna have a room full of empowered babes, and we teach you how to walk in heels. We teach you how to fix your posture, how to have presence, have confidence. If you're not local, Unity Fitness Academy is my fully remote training and nutrition program. It's a platform where I coach women with weekly one-on-one feedback and personalized approach, right? Nobody gets the same program, the same meal plan. Nuh-uh. I don't do cookie cutter programs. I am literally talking to you every week, looking at your pictures, seeing how you're doing, and incorporating all of this personal development nonsense that I'm so passionate about, right? And if you simply want a community to connect, there is a free WhatsApp chat called Women Who Roar, where we support each other, grow together, and we send little nuggets of inspiration every so often, right? In the future, in the near future, we're opening our next 45-day journey focused on self-evolution. That's going to be coming out really soon. So lots of different options if you're looking to continue to evolve. But before we close it up for today, I want to give you guys your homework for this week, because I'm going to start giving you guys homework. I want to know that you're coming in here and you're actually applying the things that you learn or that we speak about. When you notice yourself overthinking this week, I want you to use at least one of the 3 tools that we spoke about, right? Interrupt the loop with action. Get up and move. If you're feeling overwhelmed because you're thinking about a million things, get up and do movements. Number 2, write your thoughts down. Brain dump or journal. Journaling is more along the lines of, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I gotta get done. And brain dumping is literally a scattered brain note, right? It doesn't even have to be pretty. I literally made Mike ugly because to me, brain dumping should be disorganized, right? So I write, text this person, send this invoice, write that email, pay this other thing, like all over the page. And then number 3, ground yourself in the present moment, one of those grounding techniques that we learned last week. If you weren't here last week, that's okay. Send me a little DM saying anxiety PDF, and I'll send you all of those grounding techniques. And then come back next Friday and tell me what worked for you, okay? Because transformation happens when knowledge becomes practice. Just coming in here and learning the stuff is not gonna get us anywhere. And trust me, I know this because I have to apply the things that I learned in group therapy, personal therapy, in order to change my life and make it better every single day. Let's come back to those 3 pillars one more time before we wrap it up. Interrupt the loop of thinking, of overthinking. Number 2, move that thought from your head to paper. And number 3, anchor yourself in the present moment. Remind yourself that you are okay right here, right now. Overthinking doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It means that your brain is an overachiever, right? You just have to push it in the right direction. Hello, mi Rix Hermosa. Power comes from learning how to guide your mind, team, instead of letting it guide you, right? Your mind works for you, you do not work from your mind. And that's what Pink to Power is all about. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today. I will see you next Friday. Remember, you have homework. And I'm going to be working on those month-long topics that are going to give us a little bit more clarity on what we're going to be learning about so that you guys come prepared with your homework done next time. Los quiero mucho. Gracias por acompañarnos. Y nos vemos el próximo viernes, 1:30. Chao.